Hey everyone, welcome back to Paper Therapy with Amy. Today I want to have some fun with this paper pumpkin. This is the subscription kit from Stampin' Up, and I got one in my Stampin' Up demo starter box. So my understanding is that everyone got different ones, but this is mine. I got this one here. So I want to use this to make some layouts. I'm not going to use it for cards. I have lots of cards right now, and I just wanted to do something different and give you an idea of what you could do with this kit. I know it's been done by people before, but I'm not sure that anyone's done actual, like several layouts with it. So my goal is to create 3 layouts with the items from this kit. Just to show you what comes in here, I got these little gems. And here is some tape. I believe there's some pop tape in here as well. I'm not sure if it's still in here. It came packaged up and I put it back in here to show you. You get a little Stampin' Spot. You get these stamps, which I probably won't use all of them, but I might use some. Envelopes that match your cards, and then you get the card bases, and then you get, so there's different card bases in here. And then you get the dies and the places to stamp your sentiments that I want to use for different things. And then I believe there was pop dots in here as well, but I think I must have misplaced those because I'm not seeing them here. The first thing I did is I went on the hunt for some papers that would match my paper pumpkin set that I got. So I'm just gonna grab an envelope here so that you can kind of see. I feel like this is a pretty good match. The green is a little bit darker, but this matches the light because it's kind of watercolored, and then the yellow. So I got a very forgiving set. And this is from a mix-in. You may or may not have this stuff, and I'm always just going to say it because, you know, if anybody wants to try and recreate this, they can try. This one has avocado, so that's the green that I'm finding matches fairly good. And then, but you could go with a darker green too. I think that would work as well. I just really like this paper because it has these swirlies on it, and I feel like that really goes with dandelions. Like, you know how you blow the dandelion things? And then the yellow in here is... There's some green on the back of this too. So I could use this too. Kind of as dandelion looking too. Canary. So that's what I'm going to be working with right now. If you have papers that are in those colors and you happen to have this paper pumpkin set, you could try it out, or you could get creative and do your own thing. This is a layout, I think, that I have a kind of an idea of where I'm going with this. And so I do have a layout that I think could be done with any kinds of papers. So because these card bases come like this, I am going to have to come up with a way, because I'm not going to be able to span the whole paper unless I patch it, which I could do, and I'm okay with that. And so I have a bit of a plan here. I do have one photo that I've already gotten ready, and I've put that on one of these card bases. So it's this one here. I've cut the one side off. And it's going to go on the page somewhere, but I think I want to have definitely 2 photos on this side. So I think I'm going to go with a green border. In order to make the cards have a larger presence on the page, I am going to add in some of this yellow paper. So I'm just going to cut a strip to add into the middle here, and I've cut a strip from the card as well, and then I can cap the top so that it kind of looks continuous. So it measures about 4 1/4 by 8 1/4, and the piece I cut off the top of the card was 1 inch. I also want to mention with all these cards, I laid them on a somewhat giving surface, my Versamat, and I used a bone folder to kind of press the line out of them a little bit. So the line is a lot less visible because I've sort of pressed something out of them. I'm noticing that I need something down the side here on this layout, so I'm going to bring in some of that green paper. I also would like to incorporate some of the gold foil paper. I'm going to use the one with this kind of hex pattern. I only have one sheet of each of these gold foil papers, so I do have to make them be enough to have a little on each side of the page. I toyed with cutting it in half and putting half on each side, but I decided to kind of have this little bit peeking out the side here. And just in a minute, I'm going to realize that the rest of it's hidden anyway, so I just cut it in half and add a piece to the other side as well. Everything I've done on the left-hand side, except for the green paper, I'm going to mirror on the right-hand side, and the photos are going to be different as well. As many of you know, I volunteer at a local thrift store that raises money for my kids' school, and last week I picked up a old scallop punch from Stampin' Up, believe it or not. So I've made these scalloped edges to add in to my layouts here and there. Then I would also like to add in some green paper on this side. I'm just going to add a smaller piece on this side just to bring the color in. So I'm just sort of trying at different places. It's a little stuck down there, so it's hard to get in. But I end up going with having it on the bottom because I want to put an embellishment cluster there on the right hand on the top. Again, I'm going to imitate the other side by adding the little scallop to the edge of the green paper. I wanted to lay out the photos a little differently on the right-hand side, so I am going to go with 3 3x4s, but they don't stand out very much, especially when I'm just using the placeholders that are white. So I am going to mat them on this green paper, and that really helps them to stand out, and they look a lot better on the page. Once I have the pattern paper all planned out, I did not glue it down to the white background other than the gold foil paper because I'm going to pencil mark it and then I'm going to do some patterning on the background with the stamp that came with this paper pumpkin set. So I random stamped this dandelion every which direction, and making sure to go off the page sometimes because that looks a lot more like patterned paper. And once I had that accomplished, I have some gold paint from the dollar store, and I got a fairly wet brush and some gold metallic paint and kind of splattered it everywhere on the layout. So the background is kind of random stamped dandelions and random gold dots or splatters. I had cut and created a bunch of embellishments. I've made some tags. They're quite easy to make, and I will definitely make a video on how I make them, but I created these little tags, or I guess they would be tickets. And I also cut out some gold leaves and some blue little kind of round sprigs. And I made some tags with my stash, so I had a bunch of stuff to work with to decorate the page. But I'm also, of course, going to use those die cut shapes that came in the paper pumpkin set. So I'm just arranging and rearranging all these little bits and pieces, trying to make pleasing little embellishment clusters. I do tend to cut up a lot of the little sprigs or those leaves that you see me using. That's an older die from Close to My Heart that everybody always wants. I've used the entire kind of leaf die cut there on the left-hand side, but most often I'll cut it apart and tuck little leaves here and there, especially with it being gold foil. I cut it from gold foil paper, so it's a lot. I like little bits of gold here and there. It's definitely driving my OCD brain crazy that this layout is crooked on the video. So sorry about that. The next one will be straight again because I've got my Versamats back out. But on this one, I kind of wanted to see it right together the way it's going to be in the book. So I took the Versamats away. I'm just going to add the title here with the Barely Art glue. I'm going to just add some glue to it and paste it down. And then this layout is pretty well done and I can start on the next one. Okay, I gutted out this paper on the last page because I thought I might want to have a frame around on my next layout. So I kind of had to go from there with my planning because I hadn't really planned this layout yet. Okay, and when I do a 2-page layout, I don't really love to have both like this, like with a with a line here and here because I feel it kind of breaks them apart. Although my next layout probably is going to have that, but for that reason, I want this layout to look complete. And so a way to fix that is to put this across the center. And then I have this gold foil paper here from my stash. And that would go like this. So you see how, and I would have another one here. So I only have this one sheet, so I need to cut this one in half. As you know, I always have to do my inking, and especially when I'm putting colors together that aren't necessarily exactly the same, I really like to ink because I feel like it gives it all a really uniform look. So once I get these outer pieces adhered, then I'm going to also add the green kind of over top, and so it gives the illusion that that line goes straight through and it kind of covers up those other lines that kind of make it look like two separate layouts. Although I think there is ways to make a framed layout like that look like it's joined to the other side, and I'll show you that in the next layout. So I'm bringing in the rest of the green sheet of paper here, and I've added a little bit of photo placement holders to it, and these again are all 3x4 photos. And then I'm going to add the rest of that foil paper to the right hand side here so that the layout is completely covered. And then I'm going to start working on embellishing and putting the title in place. I pre-cut, like I said, I pre-cut a bunch of embellishments, and I also pre-cut these scalloped strips. And it can be handy to do that in a few different colors when you start a layout, when you just want to have things to pull and try out in different places. So I definitely was glad I had those ready because I like how they look and they kind of finish off that edge there. And I'm going to add one to the other side as well. These photo mats are the blue card. I've used the front and the back. The front has kind of a dandelion print on it and the back is just plain blue. I'm going to call this layout, title it Hello Spring, because I think that dandelions are very springy. I've cut some dandelions from the cards, so I'm going to use those in my clusters as well. And the circle there you see is one of the sentiment bases for the cards. I used the least of the sentiment bases actually. I could have used them all, and I could have actually made more layouts yet with what I had left over, but I did use it in this case to make a title, and I also use a sentiment base that's kind of shaped like a flag on the bottom there, and I make it kind of stretch across the whole bottom, or rather I should say the green part of the bottom. Another one of the things they have for the cards to stamp the sentiments on is tucked in behind my photo there, or my photo mat there, on the left-hand side of the page right beside the title. I cut that one in half and I had to use the other half on the first page, or the first layout that I did from these colors and this paper pumpkin kit. I really enjoyed this challenge that I had given myself, and I found myself going to the Stampin' Up! Webpage and looking if there was any other paper pumpkin sets or even card kits that I would like to use. And my favorite one is a city one. I think I could make a great set of layouts with that one. So let me know down in the comments if you think that I should purchase that city one and create layouts with it. In order to make this dovetailed piece of white paper with the gold foiling long enough, I did have to cover up a seam that I had to put right underneath here. So I'm just using one of the semicircles of dandelions to cover up that seam. And I want to add a few of these little banners because they're great places to put the date or little words or people's names or the place. I want to bring this dandelion blue on blue pattern to the right hand side of the page. So I just cut that card in half and tucked it kind of underneath this side. And I'm adding a few journaling strips in that same blue color. I cut it from the back side of the card. The photo above this is a 3x3 photo, and I've added a tag there and some more embellishments, and that kind of brings me to the end of this layout. So now I can work on the next layout. Okay, here I'm going to work on my last layout. So this is 11.5 by 11.5, and then 12 by 12 blue underneath, of course. And that's just the white on top. I've cut out 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 squares, a whole bunch of them, because I need to have 9 on each side. So I'm just going to divide them up. Here, let's kind of have one of each color on each side. To start with, that's going to be the second one of this, so I'll put it here. We need one of these here. I think I actually have too many here, but I figured too many was better than not enough. So here's what we're gonna do. And I'm just gonna tack these down with a little bit of tape runner because otherwise it's too difficult to get them to stay in place. Let's bring this one down actually. So we're just gonna have a tiny trim now. I find that grid style layouts are really wonderful for when you are running to the end of a paper pack and you don't have a lot of paper left. They are also excellent for when you have one of those paper packs that only has one sheet of each of the patterns. It's really nice to be able to spread the patterns around the page like this, and you don't need full sheets because you can just use cardstock in the background. As I do this, my goal is to create a balance of colors. And so you might see me pull some of the papers up and switch them out for other papers so that each color kind of is represented on each part of the page and it feels balanced. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. I've almost got this patchwork settled to the way I like it, and then I'm going to start the process of embellishing and adding my little photo mats. Okay, so now we have the two kind of grid patterns there. And now we have to decide where the photos will go. So I do like to ink these just because these are 3 1/4 by 3 1/4, and it's most likely that people would put 3 by 3 photos on here. So this little edge will show. So I had one last card base of this design that I used on the first layout, and because it has kind of all the colors combined in it, I did want to use it to embellish a few of these squares. So I'm just dividing it into 3 and cutting it into squares, and I trimmed it in a little bit of yellow just because I thought that made it pop a bit more, and I'm scattering them over the page. I still had a lot of embellishments left, and I don't think I was cheap with embellishments on the other pages, so I really filled this page up because I had so much left and I may as well use it. Technically, I could have, I think, made one more layout, but I decided that this was it. I was ready to move on to some different colors after 3 layouts in yellow, blue, and green. Not to mention that pretty gold bling. I really did enjoy working with the embellishments that came in this paper pumpkin kit. I'm not sure if they all have so many dies, but I really enjoyed those half circles because they could kind of frame a picture, and that was really fun to use. On the website, this is listed as a past paper pumpkin kit, and if you would like to purchase it, you need to be a paper pumpkin subscriber. However, there are other kits I think that can be purchased at any time, and this is just to give you an idea of what you can do with a card making kit if you're a scrapbooker. In the description box below, I'll list a few of my favorite kits that are available right now. If you would like to support me by shopping with me and you live in Canada, you can go over to stampinup.ca. I will link the website, and when you go to your cart, you can enter in the host code that I will list down below, or you can enter my name under the preferred demonstrator, and I will receive the benefits of that purchase. If you do choose to make a purchase with me, thanks a lot in advance. As I was looking over all the leftover bits for this kit, I did remember that there were some white and gold foil panel fronts to the cards, and I trimmed those down. You can see it right here. I trimmed that one down and put it in that spot, and I trimmed another one down and replaced the gold foil on the right-hand side. There were 3 of those card panel fronts, and I didn't use the last one, so I guess I'll have to make a card with that one. You may have noticed a very blank green conspicuous spot on the top left hand of the page. That's where I was planning to put my title. I had been thinking about what title I wanted to use, and I dug into my stamp stash for this and found some also old embossing, gold embossing powder that I happen to have. So I wanted to make the title Created to Shine. I used this stamp set. It was a stamp of the month, I believe, at one time. And I also wanted to use a few of these little dandelions and make them look like they're kind of blowing in the whirly wind on this paper. This paper has those whirlies. So I stamped them in Versamark, and Stampin' Up! Actually does sell Versamark. I'm pretty excited about that. It's a great ink for embossing. And then I added the embossing powder and melted it, and I think it turned out really nice. I know Stampin' Up! Does carry some embossing powders. I'm not 100% sure if they carry gold at this time, but if they do, I will list it down below. I like to emboss using a sheet of printer paper because it's so easy to clean up. Here's the finished product, and I think it looks just great. It'll take a few seconds for you to see this title in place because I'm going to show you all the layouts that I made using paper pumpkin and my stash. So I finished the 3 layouts that I set out to make, and I have to tell you, I did add in, of course, 12 by 12 papers because that doesn't come in the paper pumpkin packets. So I definitely added in, and I made some of my own embellishments to beef up the embellishment clusters. But all these die cuts are awesome, and I'm really hoping Stampin' Up! Is watching this video because I think that it would be great if they would make scrapbooking kits with dies just like this. Well, obviously other colors and other themes, but they're just awesome for scrapbooking, these little dies. So that is the first layout. And then the second layout that I made, here's the second layout. Let's lay that down here. Here's layout number 2. So again, I'm just going to give you a close-up. I did add the gems too. I added it on all 3 of them. The gems that you get. And that's layout number 2. And then here we have layout number 3, and I titled it, as you saw, with Created to Shine. I just thought with all the glittery gold paper and gold foil little additives in here that it would be nice to have that title. And I also left these so that I can still slide a photo underneath so that it's all still open. I'll probably give this as a gift, actually. Yeah, so I'll give you a close-up. And this one I really went crazy with the embellishing because I kind of used everything I had left. But any of these, like, you could cover these spots up with cards if you wanted. I mean, not cards. You could cover these spots with photos if you wanted to add more photos. And this one too, obviously. But as it is, there's 9 3x3 photos. And the photo mats are all 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 so that you can still have a little bit of a white border if you want to put your photo in here. So I'll bring this one in for a close-up. That pretty title. Thought it was appropriate with all the shininess, created to shine, as we are all created to shine. So if you would like to see any still shots and any of these layouts, I will post that on my social medias, Instagram and Facebook. And share this video, hit that like button down there, subscribe to my channel, and I will also link a video after this that if you liked this video, you might like the video that I link right here, right now. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you all next time here on YouTube. Bye.